Good morning. So we will continue further. This is point number 1.9, users of accounting information. So previously we completed up to subfields of accounting. Okay. So with respect to users of accounting information, briefly all these things were given in a flow chart. Here they have given you a bit detail of the same. So let us continue. Generally, users of accounts are classified into two categories. Number A is internal users and number B is external users. Management accounting is concerned with identifying information requirements as well as methods of providing such information to management, while information requirements of the outside users are generally served by financial statements. Following are the various users of accounting information. Number 1, investors. They provide risk capital to the business. They need information to assess whether to buy, hold, or sell their investments. Sorry. Also, they are interested to know the ability of the business to survive, prosper, and to pay dividends. In non-corporate sector, where ownership and management are not essentially separated, the owners still need information about performance of the business and its financial position to decide whether to continue or shut down. So first of all, investor needs, because they have given you the capital, they have given you the money. You mean this in the sense to the business. Investors has given money to the business, so they are expecting some return on the same. Next is employee. Growth of the employee is directly related to the growth of the organization, and therefore they are interested to know the stability, continuity, and growth of the enterprise and its ability to provide remuneration, retirement, and other benefits, and to enhance employment opportunities. So employee are expecting growth, regular growth in the organization. So they are also interested if the organization is growing or not. If organization is growing, they will grow, right? Next, lenders. They are interested to know whether their loan principal and interest will be paid back when due. So those who have provided loan, so they want their money, principal and interest to be returned back on time. Next is suppliers and creditors. They are also interested to know the ability of the enterprise to pay their dues. That helps them to decide the credit policy for the relevant concern, rates to be charged, and so on. Sometimes they also become interested in long-term continuation of the enterprise if the enterprise becomes dependent on the survival of the business. So suppliers and creditors are also providing goods to the business, and they are also providing credit facilities. So their money needs to be returned back, right? Next is customers. Customers are also concerned with the stability and profitability of the enterprise because their function is more or less dependent on the supply of goods. Suppose a company produces some chemical used by pharmaceutical companies and supply these chemicals on 3 months credit. If all of a sudden it faces some trouble and is unable to supply the chemical, the customer will also be in trouble. So here they are talking about B2B transactions. Okay, usually B2C transactions, there is not much issue with customers are not concerned who is providing goods or etc. They are just about their own experience and their need and etc. So whatever goods are available, usually consumers buy it from the market, right? But if with respect to the industry, right, somebody is dependent on, here they have given you the example of a chemical business, right? So for a pharmaceutical company is dependent on a chemical company. If they don't provide that particular chemical, they will not be able to perform. So they are dependent on them, right? So if the chemical supplier is in trouble, or indirectly pharmaceutical company will also be in the trouble. Next is government and their agencies. They regulate the functioning of business and enterprise for public good, allocate scarce resources among competing enterprises, control prices, charge excess duties and taxes, and so they have continued interest in the business enterprise. So here the government has a control for the resources, okay, and they control for many commodities, they control prices also, okay, they charge taxes, excise duty and GST and etc., right? So they are also users of the accounts. Next is public. The public at large is interested in the functioning of the enterprise because it may make a substantial contribution to the local economy in many ways, including the number of people employed and their patronage to local suppliers. There are many small towns where very big industries are set up within India, right? Say for example, Tata has established Tata Nagar. Place is called Tata Nagar, where Tata Steel plant is there in eastern part of India. Then you go to Madhya Pradesh side. I think Birla has one plant there. You go to western part. There Reliance has a big industry, right? Reliance Industries factory is there. So these are the few examples which I am giving you. So for the local people, these industries are very important, right? Their survival is dependent altogether on this local people. This company. The local people survival is dependent on this company's prosperity, right? Next is management. Management as a whole is also interested in the accounts for various managerial decisions. On the basis of accounts, management determines the effects of their various decisions on the functioning of the organization. These helps them to make further managerial decision, right? Management who are running the business, right, they also need all the financial information to make decisions, day-to-day decisions, right? Next, relationship of accounting with other disciplines. So now in accounting, if you remember, what we are doing is we are collecting some database, right? Your purchase, your sales, etc. As previously we understood that something called journal entries are prepared, then ledgers are prepared, and from ledgers trial balance and final accounts are prepared, right? So whatever data is collected there, right, some data point is collected, and these here we are understanding the relationship with each other. Okay, so accounting is closely related with several other disciplines, and thus to acquire a good knowledge of in accounting, one should be conversant with the relevant portion of such disciplines. In many cases, they overlap accounting. The accountant should have a working knowledge of the related disciplines so that he can understand such overlapping areas and apply the knowledge of other disciplines in his own work wherever possible, or he can take the expert advice. Okay, so number one is accounting and economics. Economic is viewed as a science of rational decision making about the use of scarce resources. It is concerned with the analysis of efficient use of scarce resources for satisfying human wants. They may be viewed either from the perspective of a single firm or of the country as a whole. Accounting is viewed as a system which provides data to the users to permit informed judgment and decisions. Some non-accounting data are also relevant for decision making. Accounting overlaps economic in many respects. It contributed a lot in improving the management decision-making process, but economic theories influence the development of the decision-making tools used in accounting. However, there exists a wide gulf between economists and accountants. Concept of income and capital. Accountant got the ideas of value, income, and capital maintenance from economists, but brushed suitably to make them usable in particular circumstances. See, business is all about being busy, and once the person is busy, they do some activity, and from that activity, there is some output is achieved, right? And that output is what you call indirectly it is sold, right? It is shared with the community, and somewhere everybody is earning some money from the same, right? So here from the economy is about all about demand and supply, right? So whatever is the supply available, should be apportioned among the demanding community, right? So somebody will get something extra, somebody will not get that extra part. So all these things are should be managed. So the first line is mentioning that rational decision making, right? Economic is all about rational decision making. So somebody should not get benefit and others should be left out, or etc. So the same thing, whatever data points are collected through the accounting, okay, will be used by the economist, okay, that whatever is the how much is the demand, how much is the supply, and how we need to make sure that the resources are allocated appropriately. Okay. Yeah. Accounting overlaps economic in many respects. They contribute a lot in improving the management decision making process, but economic theories influence the development of decision-making tools used in accounting. However, okay, I think we read this. However, still, okay. However, these exist a wide gulf between economists and accountants. Concept of income and capital. Accountants got the idea of value, income, and capital maintenance from economists, but brushed suitably means they modified it according to their use. Everybody's whatever database is received, they brushed it accordingly. Yeah. Suitable to make them usable in practical circumstances. Accountants develop the valuation, measurement, and decision making techniques which may owe to the economic theorems for origin, but these are molded in the work environment and suitably tempered with reference to relevance, verifiability, freedom from bias, timeliness, comparability, reliability, and understandability. Okay, all good words are there, right? Yeah. So all these things are not much theoretically that required for exam purpose. Okay, but still we need to grasp the concept in an appropriate manner. All this, to understand all this thing is required. Okay, yeah. An example may be given to explain the nexus between accounting and economic. Economist thinks that the value of an asset is the present value of all future earning which can be derived from such assets. Now think about a plant whose working life is more than 100 years. How can you estimate future streams of earning? So accountants develop the workable valuation base. The acquisition cost is the price paid to acquire the assets. So here economics thinks in terms of present value of all future earnings, right? At a macro level, accounting provides a database over which the economic decision models have been developed. Micro level data arranged by the accounting system is summed up to get macro level database. Now this is concept of economics. You might be aware about macroeconomics and microeconomics. Macro is the larger part, micro is the smaller part. So say for example, I just sum it up in a manner that as a human being, a human is required, say for example, 4 chapatis in the morning, 4 chapatis in the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 4 chapatis are required. So in a day, one person is required 12 chapatis if he is only consuming chapati. If he is consuming chapati and rice, then he is consuming 2 or 3 chapatis, and the rest of the portion is of the rice, along with all the vegetables and pulses and etc. Right? So in a particular town, say for example, there are 5 lakh peoples are staying. Okay, so this thing will be multiplied by 5 lakh. In a particular state, total say for example 3 crore people are living. Okay, so that same quantity will need to be multiplied with 3 crore. And at a national level, there are 140 crore peoples in India. So this thing will be multiplied with the same, right? So the macro level, the total requirement will be considered, and micro level, locally what is requirement, that will be considered. Okay, so in this whatever database accounting information has created, okay, that will be used by economist. Okay, yeah. Now overlapping zones of accounting are not negligible. Development of the systems of recording, classifying, and summarizing transactions and events, harmonizing the system of by uniform rules, and communicating the data is essentially a non-overlapping area of accounting. So all the information should be collected accurately. If there is a mismatch between actual database and information recorded, okay, then the decision making will have a flaw. Okay, next, accounting and statistics. The use of statistics in accounting can be appreciated better in the context of the nature of accounting records. Accounting information is very precise. It is exact to the last paisa, but for decision-making purpose, such precision is not necessary, and hence the statistical approximations are sought. Now, in economics, what we understood that to macro, micro level thing, present value of all the future outputs are considered, right? But for the future purpose, statistics are usually used to value the future thing. okay, what will be the future of something, right? And basis the past database, we can decide it. Like in the previous session I mentioned you about the rain thing, right? That how IMD department calculates the rain, right? Proposed rain to happen, right? So that is possible with the past database, okay? They are predicting the future. So up to last, accounting is about up to last paisa, okay? Each paisa is considered over here, right? But with respect to decision making, you need approximate information. In accounts, all values are important individually because they relate to business transactions. As against this, statistics is concerned with the typical value, behavior, or trend over a period of time, or degree or of variation over a series of observations. Therefore, wherever a need arises for only broad generalizations or the average of relationships, statistical methods have to be applied in accounting data. Further, in accountancy, the classification of assets and liabilities as well as the heads of income and expenditure has been done as per the needs of financial recording to ascertain financial results of various operations. Other types of classification, like the geographical and historical ones and ad hoc classifications, are done depending on the purpose to make such classification meaningful. Accounting records generally take a short-term view of events and are confined to a year, but statistical analysis is more useful if a longer view is taken for the purpose. For example, to fit the trend line, a longer period will be required. However, statistical methods do use past accounting records maintained on a consistent basis. The functional relation showing mathematical relations of one variable with one or more other variables are based on statistical works. These relations are used widely in making cost or price estimates. For some estimates, future values assigned to the given independent variable. For example, given the functional relation of total cost to the price of an input, the effect of changes in future price on the cost of production can be calculated. In accountancy, a number of financial and other ratios are based on statistical methods, which help in averaging them over a period of time. Several accounting and financial calculations are based on statistical formula. Statistical methods are helpful in developing accounting data and in their interpretation. For example, time series and cross-sectional comparison of accounting data is based on statistical techniques. Nowadays, multiple discriminant analysis is popularly used to identify symptoms of sickness of a business firm. Therefore, the study and application of statistical methods would add extra edge to the accounting data. Right. Once accounting informations are collected, okay, and statistical techniques are being applied on the same, the prediction, it helps in prediction, okay. Simply put, it will be help in prediction of the future. Next, accounting and mathematics. Double entry bookkeeping can be converted in algebraic form. In fact, the first known books on this subject was part of a treatise on algebra. The fundamental accounting equation will be discussed in detail under dual aspect concept of this chapter. Knowledge of arithmetic and algebra is a prerequisite of for accounting computation and measurement. Calculation of interest and annuity are the examples of such fundamental uses. While computing depreciation, finding out installments in hire purchase and installment payment transactions, calculating amount to be set aside for repayment of loan and replacement of assets, and calculating lease rentals, mathematical techniques are frequently used. Accounting data are also presented in ratio form. Okay, so whatever mathematical formulas and everything are taught during somewhere from 5th 6th standard up to 10th standard, right? Ratio analysis and algebraic calculation and etc. Somewhere or the other, these all things are used in accounting. Okay, that was the base. Okay, and here we will be actually using it in accounting. Okay. With the advent of the computer, mathematics is becoming a vital part of accounting. Instead of writing accounts in traditional fashion, the transactions and event can be recorded in the matrix form, and rules of matrix algebra can be applied for classifying and summarizing data. Nowadays, statistics and econometric models are largely used for developing decision models for the users of accounts. Also, operation research techniques provide a lot of decision models. Since accounting is meant for providing information to the users to be effective, accounting data should feed the information requirements of such statistical, econometric, and operation research models. Understanding mathematics has become a must to grasp the decision models formed by statisticians, econometricians, and the OR experts. Okay, so OR is operational research. Okay, so there is a separate study with respect to operation research. Okay, it's like the way people study accounts, okay, economics, like there is a separate subject called operation research. Okay, so how operationally efficient an organization is, and what how to make a decision with respect to operations. Very nicely the subject is being covered. Usually in our CA curriculum, previously there was a complete there was a part of the in your CA final level, it was a part of the studies. Operation research was a part of the study. Recently it has been removed. Otherwise in MBA usually this is the one of the subject in the MBA curriculum. Okay, apart from that, economics and statistics we are discussing here, and this is all again part of your academics for your foundation exams also, right? Next, presently graphs and charts are being extensively used for communicating accounting information. In addition to statistical knowledge is geometry, and trigonometry seems to be essential to have a better understanding about the accounting communication system. Okay, so trigonometry is also being used, geometry is also being used, right? Somewhere these things, if you have the knowledge, your decision making will have a good impact. Okay, yeah, so I will just try to stick here with the accounting part. Okay, we are not going deep into how this practically these things are applied. Gradually, once you means what I'm trying to tell you is that each and every subject what is being taught, somewhere or the other it is useful, it is important. Okay, so at times people feel, while in commerce we have a business study, business mathematics or something kind of a subject where we taught statistics in commerce. Here only they should be concerned with accounts or management or something like that, right? But somewhere or the other it will help in the decision making, and your efficiency and effectiveness will improve. Okay, next, accounting and law. An economic entity operates with a legal environment. All transactions with suppliers and customers are governed by the Contract Act, the Sale of Goods Act, the Negotiable Instruments Act, etc. The entity itself is created and controlled by laws. For example, a company is created by the Companies Act and also controlled by Companies Act. Similarly, every country has a set of economic, fiscal, and labor laws. Transactions and events are always guided by laws of the land. Very often, the accounting system to be followed has been prescribed by the law. For example, the Companies Act prescribes the format of financial statement for companies. Banking, insurance, and electric supply undertaking may also have to produce financial statements as prescribed by the respective legislations controlling such entities. However, legal prescriptions about the accounting system is the product of developments in accounting knowledge. That is to say, legislation about accounting system cannot be enacted unless there is a corresponding development in the accounting discipline. In that way, accounting influences law and is also influenced by law. Accounting and management. Management is a broad occupational field which comprises many functions and encompasses application of many disciplines, including those mentioned above. Accountants are well placed in the management and play a key role in the management team. A large portion of accounting information is prepared for management decision making. Although management relies on other data sources, accounting data are used as a basic source documents in the management team. An accountant is in a better position to understand and use such data. In other words, such an accountant plays an active role in management. He understands the data requirement, so the accounting system can be molded to solve the management purpose. Okay, so accounting again, management, we are this is very much covered previously also, that for the management, accounting is important to manage the business, right? Next, limitations of accounting. There are certain misconceptions regarding financial statements. A common man presumes that an income statement shows the correct income or loss of the enterprise, and that a balance sheet depicts a perfectly true and fair picture of financial standing of that enterprise. It must be recognized that accounting as a language has its own limitations. The figure of profit or loss generated by the accounting process are subject to various constraints within which the accounting works. The assumptions and conventions on which the accounting is based become the limitation of accounting. The financial statements are never free from subjectivity. Factors as these are largely the outcome of personal judgment of the accountant with regard to the adoption of the accounting policies, following a certain instances. The factor which may be relevant in assessing the worth of the enterprise don't find place in the account as they cannot be measured in terms of money. The balance sheet cannot reflect the value of certain factors like royalty and skill of the personnel, which may be the most valuable assets of an enterprise these days. Balance sheet shows the position of the business on the day of its preparation and not on the future date, while the users of the account are in knowing the position of the business in the near future and also in long run and not for the past data. Accounting ignores changes in some money factors like inflation, etc. There are occasions when accounting principles conflict with each other. Certain accounting estimates depends on the sheer personal judgment of the accountant. Example, provision for doubtful debts, method of depreciation adopted, recording certain expenditure as revenue expenditure or capital expenditure, selection of method of valuation of inventories, and the list is quite long. Financial statement consider those assets which can be expressed in monetary terms. Human resources, although the very important assets of the enterprise, are not shown in the balance sheet. There is no generally accepted formula for the valuation of human resources in money terms. Different accounting policies for the treatment of same item adds to the probability of manipulations, though through various laws and accounting standards, efforts are made to reduce these options to minimum, but certainly could not be reduced to one. In nutshell, it can be said that the language of accounting has certain practical limitations, and therefore the financial statement should be interpreted carefully, keeping in mind all various factors influencing the true picture. So whatever they are mentioned over here, now these are the certain limitations. Okay, so though we feel that by passing all the entries correctly and everything, our accounting records provide true and fair picture, but still there are few limitations. Okay, as it was mentioned that in point number 5, like provision of doubtful debts, method of depreciation adopted, okay, recording certain expenditures, revenue or capital, or selection of method of inventory valuation. There are many other things which individual judgment comes into picture, and accordingly things are interpreted, okay, and basis the interpretation entries are being passed, so it will vary, okay. Yeah, inflation is not considered in account because true numbers are maintained with respect to accounts. Okay, now next, role of accountant in the society. Yeah, so particularly these limitations are somewhere important. This limitations of accounting topic is relevant at times. It might be asked in exams also. Next, role of accountant in the society. There are only a few types of profession in the world which are held in high esteem in public eyes, and there is no denying the fact that the accounting profession is one of them. Goethe has called the accountant profession as the fairest invention of the human mind. At the core of all types of learned profession, there is the desire of public good and of finding the best way to serve society. By the use of the science of accountancy and under the spell of its art, a dynamic pattern which assists business in planning its future is woven by accountant out of the inert mass of non-speaking silent figures. That is what makes the profession an instrument of socio-economic change and welfare of the society. So what they are mentioning that accounting is there are many professions which are considered held high esteem in public eyes. Among them, one is accountant role. Okay. So I just give you one small example. I'm not sure this is from the internet source. I have read this thing, but during Chandragupta Maurya's regime, Chanakya was the person who used to maintain the accounts. Okay, so some person went there in the evening time at his home for some work. So the person banged the door and said that Mr. Chanakya, we need your help. Okay, so what Mr. Chanakya did was that, come sit. and when he went inside, so he immediately blow off the candle kind of a thing which they used to use, and he took out second piece and he burnt it. Okay. So the person sitting there asked him, why did you blow off first one and you are again igniting the second one for this purpose? So the Mr. Chanakya said that first one, when you came at my place, I was doing the official work. Okay. So that candle was provided me from the official company, organization side, means the regime side. They had provided him that thing. Okay. And as you have came here to meet me for some of your personal things, so I should not use that candle. I am blowing the candle which I have purchased from my money, and that I am using it. So like he was not using that candle also for his personal purpose. Okay. So that kind of thinking and process are being expected from an accountant. Okay. Next, an accountant with his education, training, analytical mind, and experience is best qualified to provide multiple need-based services to the ever-growing society. The accountants of today can do full justice not only to matters relating to taxation, costing, management accounting, financial layout, company legislation, and procedures, but they can delve deep into the field relating to the financial policies, budgetary policies, and even economic principles. The area of activities which can be undertaken by the accountant is not limited, but it can also cover many additional facets. Okay. So like only number crunching is not there, taxation, management, cost accounting not, but for making policies, for making budgetary policy or financial policy or economic principles also, accountants knowledge is usually useful. Okay. Yeah. Next is area of services. The practice of accounting has crossed its usual domain of preparation of financial statement, interpretation of such statement, and audit thereof. Accountants are presently taking active role in the company laws, and other corporate legislation matters. In taxation laws, matters both direct and indirect in general management problems. Some of the services rendered by accountants to the society are briefly mentioned here under. Maintenance of books of account. An accountant is able to maintain a systematic record of financial transactions in order to establish the net results of the transactions entered into during a period and to state the financial positions of the concerns as at a particular date. For the fulfillment of the twin objective of ascertaining the profit earned or loss suffered and the financial position, it is necessary that all the transactions be recorded in systematic manner, which can be done only by an accountant. Proper maintenance of books of account assist management in planning, decision making, controlling functions. Okay, the first thing is maintenance of books of account. Second is statutory audit. Every limited company means the company which is registered with Ministry of Company Affairs, and usually limited company, it means that they are somewhere listed. Okay, there are unlisted public companies also which is running smoothly, but here they are talking usually limited company as a common parlance understood as which are listed on a stock exchange. Okay, every limited company is required to appoint a chartered accountant or a firm of a chartered accountant as their auditor, who are statutorily required to report each year whether in their opinion the balance sheet shows a true and fair view of the state of affairs on the balance sheet date, and the profit and loss account shows a true and fair view of the profit or loss for the year. Auditing is not confined to the accounts of companies. Other organizations may also have their accounts audited, either because the law so requires, for example, the Cooperative Society Act, Income Tax Act, etc., or because the proprietor wisely decided so, for example, a partnership firm or an individual trader. Okay, so audit is not like at people for their own purpose also do that thing. Like apart from that, Cooperative Society Act is there. They are also required to do their audit. Income Tax Act also requires their audit. Okay, with respect to income tax, there are certain limits where audit is compulsory. Okay, yeah. So next is internal audit. It is a management tool whereby an internal auditor thoroughly examines the accounting transaction and also the system according to which these have been recorded, with a view to ensure the management that the accounts are being properly maintained and the system contains adequate safeguards to check any leakage of revenue or misappropriation of property or assets, and the operations have been carried out in conformity with the plans of management. Nowadays, internal auditing has developed as a service to management. The internal auditor constructively contributes in improving the operational efficiency of the business through an independent review and appraisal of all business operations. So internal audit is a separate field where within the organizations people do the complete thorough checking of the books of accounts. Okay, and with respect, the checking is with respect to all the proper accounting standards are being followed, or proper taxation things are being complied with. Okay, and apart from that, any management suggestions etc. are also being given by the internal auditor to make sure that the compliance are being done well, and plus future prospect for growth and etc. where there is any loose end are being monitored, that are being shared by the internal auditor to the management. Next is taxation. An accountant can handle taxation matters of a business or a person, and he can represent the business or person before the tax authorities and settle the tax liability. Under the statute prevailing, he can also assist in avoiding or reducing tax burden by proper planning of tax affairs. Accountants also have a social obligation to express their views on broad tax policy, on the effect of tax rate on business and the economy in general, and all other aspects of taxation in which they have knowledge superior to that of general public. Management accounting and consultancy services. Management accountant performs an advisory function. He is largely responsible for internal reporting to the management for planning and controlling current operations, decision making on special matters, and for formulating long range plans. His job is to collect, analyze, interpret, and present all accounting information which is useful to the management. Accountant provides management consultancy services in the areas of management information system, expenditure control, and evaluation of appraisal techniques for new investments and divestments, working capital management, corporate planning, etc. Financial advice. Many people need help and guidance in planning their personal financial affairs. An accountant who knows about finance, taxation, and family problems is well placed to give such advice. Some of the areas in which an accountant can render financial advice are: number one, investment. An accountant can explain the significance of the formidable documents which shareholders receive from companies and help in making decisions relating to their investment. Insurance. An accountant can provide information to his clients on various insurance policies and helps in choosing appropriate policy. Business expansion. As business grows in size and complexity and mergers are being considered, accountants are in the forefront in interpreting accounts, making suggestions as to the form of schemes and the fairness of proposals, considering cost and financial consequences, and generally advising their clients. They also advise on how to set about the problem of borrowing money or whether this is an appropriate method of finance. Accountants can render extremely useful service in connection of negotiations with foreign collaborators. Investigations. Financial investigations are required for a variety of purposes. Examples are to ascertain the financial position of a business, for the information of interested party in connection with an issue of capital, the purchase or sale of the business, or a reconstruction or amalgamation. There are many things. Accounting, financial, with respect to financial advice, there are many points are covered, like investment, insurance, business expansion, investigation. With respect to investigation, they have given you lot many sub points also. So point number 2 is to help management to decide whether it is a cheaper to manufacture an article or to buy out, to ascertain why profits have fallen, to achieve greater efficiency in management, to ascertain whether frauds has occurred and if so, its nature and extent, and to make suggestions which will help to prevent a recurrence, to value business and shares in private companies for purposes such as purchase, sale, estate duty, or wealth tax, etc. For such problems requiring financial investigation, you need an accountant. His task as an independent professional is to establish the fact fairly and clearly for the benefit of those who have to make decisions and to give advice in many areas in which he has competence and experience. Pension schemes. Specialist advice from actuaries, insurance agents, or insurance companies is needed before launching or amending a provident fund or pension scheme in a business. But before making a final decision, an accountant has to be consulted. Later on, his help may be needed for managing the scheme or obtaining tax relief. Next, other services. Secretarial work. Companies, clubs, and associations, indeed virtually all organizations involve secretarial work. Accountants frequently do this work. Share registration work. Accountants are often used by many companies to undertake the work involved in registering share transfer and new issues. Company formation. In conjunction with legal advisors, accountant helps in the formation of a company or advise against doing so. Receiverships, liquidation, etc. An accountant has to sometimes take on the onerous duty of liquidator when a company is being wound up, or receiver. when a debenture holder exercises a right to recover a loan or on which the borrower has defaulted. Accountant is just the man for the job. He is also just a man to help you to keep insolvency away if you consult him in time. Arbitration. At times, accountants are invited by parties to act as arbitrator in a dispute or settle disputes of various kinds. As regards the cost accountant, a cost accountant's job is to continuously report cost data and related information at frequent intervals to the management. Accountant and information services. An accountant will be effective in his role if he supplies the information promptly and in an unambiguous language. He should develop a system by which there is a regular flow of information both horizontally and vertically. The information system should be such that comparability of financial statement is possible, both business-wise and year-wise, so that it benefits both the management and the investors. Dependence on data from the computerized information system will put new responsibilities on an accountant, but this product will command greater attention and respect. Okay, so these are other services which an accountant provides. Okay, apart from financial advice, management accountancy, and accounting and consultancy, taxation, internal audit, statutory audit, and maintenance of books of accounts. Okay, these are the areas of service which usually an accountant provides. So you can understand that there is a broad services which an accountant can provide, a chartered accountant is usually providing in the industry. Okay, so these are the points which as a student you can explore it and understand what are the fields available, and among them where you should personally go ahead and study deep in a deep manner so that you can make a career out of it. Okay, so this was a good topic for you student for personal analysis. Okay, next, chartered accountant in industry. An accountant, though he is a part of the highest planning team, is not a planner in an industry. He works with the functional department and translates the organization's aims in terms of financial expectation. Therefore, he has to make a thorough study of the business and of individuals in the functional departments, whether they are engineers or salesmen. A qualified accountant will be able to play an important role in performing important functions of a business relating to accounting, costing, and budgetary controls, estimating, and treasury. Okay, so chartered accountant is usually he's not a planner in the industry. Okay, but he works in a functional department and translates organization aims in terms of financial expectation. Right, see, one particular product is being produced, so engineers team will have a different view, sales team will have a different view. Okay, marketing team will have a different view. Everybody will collectively come and give their own views, but finally the numbers will speak. Okay, and accountant will consider all the provided information by the various department and come with a rational decision point that this should be followed or this should not be followed, etc. Right. Next, chartered accountant in public sector enterprise. Both in developed and developing countries, public sector enterprise have become a special feature of the national economy. Public sector enterprises like Indian Railway, or there are some government companies with respect to oil and natural resources, etc. Okay, so these are the public sector enterprise. So the system of financial and budgetary control and of accounting, auditing, and reporting has therefore become a matter of interest and concern to the nation, and does not remain confined merely to a limited number of shareholders. The form of accounting followed by these corporations or companies is different from that of ordinary government accounting. It is the duty of the accountant to prepare the accounts and report of these public corporations in such a way that they enable the general public to know how far the items appearing in the various types of records and financial statements justify their existence. Next, chartered accountant in framing fiscal policies. Fiscal is financial policies. Usually, this is in respect of government policies. Okay. Chartered accountants have a positive role to play in the determination of proper fiscal policies and advancement of trade, commerce, and industry. They should develop new techniques and prepare themselves for new field of service towards their commitment to the concept of the public goods and services. As a business enterprise can be successful in the commercial sense only if the accounting and business knowledge are pulled together. Accounting and business knowledge is pulled together. It is a social obligation for both accountant in industry and in practice to disclose greater information regarding the corporate results. The state of affairs of the company can be ascertained only when such consolidated corporate information is disclosed. Last, chartered accountant and economic growth. In the present time, chartered accountants should conceive their duty as broadly as the conditions might require and do not restrict them to only literal compliance of the law. Their aim should be not to allow any individual to gain at the cost of the nation. Accountants have to accept a positive role and do their best to encourage efficiency in individual business units and encourage those social objectives which form the main foundations of a welfare state. Okay, now they are summarizing this thing, and along with that they have given some practical questions. We will do this thing in the next session. Okay, thank you.